it was the right political thing to do to talk about drug-resistant tuberculosis. And again, they accused us of trying to bring first world medicine to developing countries. They called us médicos aventurosos, you know, physician adventurers who were trying to make a point but didn't really get it. So of course we started treating the patients. And in the first cohort of 45 patients, we got over an 80% cure rate. Now again, if you want to see the clinical data, we've got New England Journal papers that describe what happened. But we got over 80% cure rate, and it blew people away. We had a meeting in 1998 in which we showed our results prior to them being published. And I would say the people the more forward-thinking people in the TB community were blown away and said, we've got to do something differently now. You've now proven we can no longer say it's impossible to do, so we've got to do something about it. But you know, it doesn't matter because the cost of the drugs is too high. It was still $25,000. So I asked a question. I said, are these drugs generic or not? Are these drugs off patent or not? And the people at WHO who absolutely insisted that the drugs were too expensive, therefore it's not doable, when I said to them, are these drugs on patent or not? They said, well, what does that mean, right? Terribly important point. Drugs, once they go off patent, drop about 50% in the first year, and then over time, with economies of scale, drop 90 to 95%. Now, I had done my PhD in anthropology, but I had focused on the drug industry. So my PhD dissertation was on the drug industry in Korea, so I knew something about this. So we said, so why don't we get generic companies in India and China to start making these drugs? We know how to do that. So we got together with a few other organizations, and within a year, and you know, the critical point here is that it was incredibly trivial to make this happen, a drop in the price of drugs between 85 and 95%. A year it took. So a death sentence was declared because they argued that it was impossible to do, but no one had tried it. A death sentence was declared because they said it was too expensive, but nobody bothered to look. 85, 95%. It was still expensive, probably $1,500 to $2,000 at least for treatment, but that's very different from $25,000. And there were enough problems. The Russian prison system was exploding with drug-resistant TB. Countries like Estonia and Latvia were seeing huge epidemics. And the thing we were worried most about was Southern Africa, where we knew there was a problem of drug-resistant TB, and then when TB and HIV come together, you know, it's almost like kindling exploding. We knew that because HIV knocks out precisely that part of the immune system that keeps tuberculosis in check, for people who are infected with tuberculosis but not sick with tuberculosis, that when those two things come together,